You ever wonder what it means to make it by any means and finally attain your dreams? On the come up what they run up from the world of many fiends. I've been at it since a teen. Get this money, get the cream. Hard work and sacrifice, but now that I know what I mean. Most of these rappers ain't got no class like Bob Threats.
All right, fourth graders, you know what time it is. It is time for us to attempt to do our first math online lesson as opposed to doing it in the classroom, which we can't be in right now. And so let's give it a try. My question is, what are measurement benchmarks? Forky wants to know. I do too. And as a matter of fact, I think that this is a lesson that we were working on the last day of school that we were actually in the building. So let's take a look at it again now. Yeah, green looks good. Measurement benchmarks. How can you use benchmarks to understand the relative sizes of measurement units? These are things we're going to use just to get a general idea of how long something is, or how much it can hold, or how much it weighs. And we're going to look in the customary system and in the metric system as well. So here we got, it says Jake says the length of his bike is about 4 yards. Use the benchmark units to determine if Jake's statement is reasonable. Well, let's think about that. We have, this is a good start. An inch is about the length of your knuckle on the first knuckle on your index finger to the tip of your finger. That's about an inch. The width of a license plate, you could consider that to be 1 foot. The width of a baseball bat, about a yard. Well, it's actually 3 feet, so okay. And also, we have a mile. And you can think of a mile as about how far you could walk in 20 minutes. When you're walking at a reasonable pace, not stopping, a mile is a pretty far distance when you think about that. 20 minutes of walking. Okay. It says a mile here is a customary unit for measuring length or distance. The benchmark shows the distance you can walk in about 20 minutes. Okay, sounds good to me. And so when we think back at that question there, a baseball bat is about 1 yard long. And since Jake's bike is shorter than 4 times the length of a baseball bat, his bike is shorter than 4 yards long. I think that's definitely true. When you think about a typical kid's bike, I would say it could be maybe 2 baseball bats long. Maybe even coming up on 3 baseball bats long, but not 4. So I think that Jake's statement is not reasonable, and that maybe a good estimate might be that his bike is 2, maybe 3 baseball bats long. That's a good start. Yeah. Remember that as we do our talking here and me guiding you through this, that you also are supposed to be filling these things in your math book, so we can kind of look at it together. Customary units of liquid volume. You got a cup being 8 fluid ounces. A pint, so like a measuring cup. A cup you might use to measure when you're baking. About 8 fluid ounces. In fact, it is exactly 8 fluid ounces. A pint. When you think about your milk jugs, your little milk cartons at school, those are half pints. So a pint is what you might buy cream or half and half coffee creamer in. It's like a pint is like 2 of your cartons of milk in the cafeteria. A quart, that'd be a big old water bottle, like a nice sized hydro flask, be a quart. Half gallon, You can buy half gallons of milk. Typically, I buy half gallons of chocolate milk because I don't let my kids have chocolate milk that often. But typically, we buy the gallons of regular milk. And a gallon's probably the one that's easiest to think about because you got gallons coming. Uh, Milk comes in gallons, iced tea comes in gallons, water comes in gallons. Gallons a very common measurement in the customary system. So when somebody says a gallon of something, you should think of a gallon of milk or a gallon of water. About how much liquid is in a mug of hot chocolate? I think we could eliminate gallon. That's a big mug of hot chocolate. We could eliminate half gallon and quart. You might have a pint if you have a great big mug, but you're probably going to drink, so you can fit marshmallows down in here, you're going to drink a cup of hot chocolate. Oh my, grapefruit. About how much does a grapefruit weigh? It's a very foul fruit. I know that Kerrigan will disagree with me, but the grapefruit, oh, just keep them all. I don't want any of them. But when we're thinking about how much a grapefruit weighs, a pencil weighs about an ounce, and a loaf of bread would be about a pound. And like I also think about when I buy packages of ground beef or ground turkey or whatever, you can hold that in your hand, and it has some weight to it. So that's an easy way for me to think about how much a pound weighs. And then a ton. There's only really 3 units of measurement here of weight in the customary system. A ton, that's about a Honda Civic. Yeah, it's about a Ford Fiesta. Or you're looking at maybe a Toyota Corolla. A small car, weighs about a ton. That's 2,000 pounds. So when we go back to that grapefruit that I've already covered up here with scribbles, I wouldn't say it weighs an ounce, and I wouldn't say that it weighs as much as a car, but pound. I'd say pound for grapefruit. I need a stylus. At some point, I'm going to have to get a stylus so that I don't have terrible writing on here, but I think you're just going to have to deal with it for now, kiddos. Look at this. Look at that. Here we are in the second part. We're doing some metric units of length. A millimeter? A millimeter is really small. A millimeter, and let me get my markup tool here. Let's see, I want red this time. Yeah, red. Millimeter is really tiny. Think the width of a staple. That's pretty small. A millimeter. A centimeter. Now, instead of thinking about the length from here to here, think about the width of your index finger. That's a centimeter. A decimeter, that would be from the tip of your thumb to the edge of your palm when you hold your hand up like that. Decimeter. A meter would be like the width of a door. Doors are typically like 36 inches wide or 30 inches wide. And a kilometer. Now, a kilometer is a little smaller than a mile because, and a mile, of course, is in the customary system, but people get confused with that. Kilometers are smaller than a mile because that's the distance you would walk in about 10 minutes of a good brisk walk as opposed to 20 minutes with the mile. Interesting. Metric units of liquid volume, how much something holds. And if you think about a medicine bottle, they want to know about how much medicine is usually in a medicine bottle. Medicine bottle, I can even think of medicine bottles that have droppers like this in it, right here. That foul pink amoxicillin you might take when you have an ear infection or something like that. That pink liquid that tastes like bubble gum. Usually it has one of these in there so that you can take the dosage. But a liter of that medicine would be a lot. So it would be about 120 milliliter. 120 liters of that stuff? No, thank you. I remember that stuff being gross. Let's see, metric units of mass. You can think of mass like weight, and a gram in the metric system weighs about as much as a dollar bill, which isn't very much. I like to think of a paperclip as being a gram too. And a baseball bat. We were talking about the baseball bat before because we said that it was about the width of a yard. But when we're talking about mass or how much it weighs, a baseball bat would weigh about a kilogram. So when you think about how much is the mass of a paperclip, that's closer to the weight of a dollar bill, not the weight of a ball bat. So I would say gram. Are you filling these in your book as we go? I hope so. Because then you'll have a good reference point to look at when you're doing other math work. Done. Done with you. On to the next page. I'm going to pick a few out on here, and you guys can, and girls can do more, but I'm just going to pick out a few. I want to edit this, and I want to mark up. And I'm starting to get better at this. I know it doesn't look too good right now. I'm not used to doing this. You're not used to listening to me on a video either, but we'll get through it. Mass of a strawberry. Look at these metric units over here. Some of them are length. We don't want the length of the strawberry. We want about how much it weighs. So I dare say it might weigh, say not a kilogram, that's a ball bat. Maybe a gram. Length of a cell phone. Well, they're getting pretty big nowadays. I got a pretty big cell phone, but it's not a kilometer long, and it's not a meter long. It's more like a centimeter long. Width of a teacher's desk, 10 meters or a meter. I don't have a 10-meter desk. That'd be a very long desk. I would probably say a meter would be a better estimate. Because remember, a meter is about the width of a door, and the width of a teacher's desk, might fit a teacher's desk through the door. I don't know. But definitely meters your better estimate. How about the distance between Seattle and San Francisco? Wow. Seattle's in Washington State, and San Francisco's in California. So it's not going to be 6 miles. You might say 680 miles. You notice here we kind of switched to picking a customary unit of length here. We've been working with some metric stuff here. The amount of liquid a punch bowl holds, 2 liters or 20 liters. Punch bowls typically got that scoop in it. Typically you can get a lot of servings out of there. Probably more like 20 liters, not 2 liters. Think of a 2-liter bottle of soda. You're not going to get a lot of servings out of that. But 20 liters in a punch bowl, that makes more sense to me. How about over here? Length of a football field. Well, we know what that's measured in. Inch, feet, yard. There it is. We talk about 100 yards on the football field. So that's the yards. You know what I need is I desperately need a stylus, and I'm going to get one. This is yards. Weight of a pumpkin? Well, inch and foot and yard are all length measurements. That's no good. But we could do ounce or pound. Definitely pound. When I weigh at JB Tree Farm, when I get our pumpkins, they always tell me how many pounds it weighs because you got to pay by the pound. I like these comparisons down at the bottom. Complete the sentence, rate more or less. And some of them are kind of silly. Matthew's large dog weighs blank than a ton, more or less. Remember what we said about a ton? A ton is about the weight of a car. So if you got no dog's the weight of a car, I would say this is probably going to be less than a ton. The amount of liquid a sink can hold, was it less or more than a cup of water? a cup of water, that's just 8 ounces. I would say a sink is definitely more. And a paperclip has a mass of more or less than a kilogram. A kilogram, we said, is the weight of a ball bat, a baseball bat. Paperclip, that would definitely be less than a ball bat, right? For sure. Oh, messy, messy. Hopefully, you guys, you're using a pencil or one of those awesome erasable pens on paper instead of me trying to write on this iPad, so I hope yours is a lot neater than mine. Better be. Done. All right, next. Don't forget that this math on the spot, this is a QR code here, and that QR code, you can scan it with anything, a phone, an iPad, and you can, this guy right here, you can go in and watch the Dr. Berger video and solve this problem over here about Christina making macaroni and cheese. It's a pretty good problem. And I love watching Dr. Berger videos because he does a good job of explaining how to do these things. Almost as good as me. Done. I'm going to kind of scoot over here. And this is the homework pages. And I'm not really assigning to do the homework pages. I'm going to be assigning for you to do a couple problems on the reteach page, which I'll show you in a minute. But these are fun ones to do too, because you need to pick the customary units. Let me get my pen. Edit. Mark up. Yeah. Oh, give me that red. And we got customary units here: ounce, pound, inch, and foot, yard, mile, gallon, and cup. And you got milliliter, liter, grams, kilograms, centimeters, meters, and kilometers. And we'll do a couple together here. Length of a semi-truck. That's a big tractor trailer hauling stuff back and forth from stores and warehouses. First of all, they want to know the length, so we can eliminate ounce and pound. Those are, that's weight. We want length. Inch and foot and yard and mile. Now, those are all length measurements, and that's what we want here is length. Inches is going to be too many inches. We could measure bigger than that. You could go with feet. You could even measure it with yards, probably. I would probably measure it in feet. In fact, I think whenever you look at the back of a tractor trailer, typically they do say how many feet is like 52 foot or whatever it is. So I would go with feet here. I don't think they talk about yards with a tractor trailer. The amount of liquid a bathtub holds. Well, we can eliminate all those ones we were talking about for the length of a semi-truck because that was length. This is the amount of liquid it holds, its capacity, how much a bathtub holds. We could say, well, we would have to look at gallon or cup here. That's our only two choices. We want to measure in cups. That's only 8 ounces. But a gallon, yeah, gallons. Gallon for a bathtub. This one I want to do because it's funny. The mass of a grasshopper. Our choices for mass over here with metric units, we have grams and kilograms. Well, remember, a gram is like the weight of a dollar bill, but a kilogram is the weight of a ball bat. And if you meet up with a grasshopper that is as heavy as a ball bat, I would run, and this better be measured in grams. And I'll kind of skip down here too. Look at this. Mass of a chicken egg, another mass problem. Mass is weight, remember? And we're talking about metric units. And our mass metric units over here, we have gram and kilogram. We're saying 50 grams or 50 kilograms. $50 bills or 50 paper clips or 50 ball bats. Think real hard on that one now. I would go with 50 grams. 50 ball bat. 50 kilogram chicken egg. OMG, that is big. All right, well, that's some work on the homework, and you guys are welcome to go ahead and do the rest of these. But I want to kind of get to the point here and tell you that, we don't want you to do 1,000 problems. We want you to pay attention to the lesson. We want you to follow along and fill in stuff that we do here, but we don't want to overwhelm you, though. We don't want to give you too much to do, but we do want to make sure you understand what we're doing here. And I think we did a pretty good job with that here today. I'm going to hit done on this, and I'm going to go back to my photos for a minute and discard those changes and go back and take a look here. Remember, what are measurement bookmarks? Benchmarks. What are measurement benchmarks? Benchmarks are those things we can think about and use to get a general idea, an estimation of how much something weighs, or how much something, or how long something is, or how much something will hold. In Seesaw, you're going to find this. This is Measurement Benchmarks reteach page. And you'll notice here that, let me get my pen. Wow, this is a long lesson. I'm talking so much. I would never talk this much in class. We have here a problem that's already done. They solved it. You can read it and see what they did. And then down here, we're saying use benchmarks to choose the customary unit, use benchmarks to choose the metric unit down here for the length of a school bus, the weight of a computer, the amount of liquid bottle of detergent holds, or the distance between two cities. And you'll find this in Seesaw. And you're used to doing, whether it's for me or for Mrs. Dunham or for in reading class, you do things on Seesaw all the time. So you'll go in there, you'll be able to write right on it like I did, and then turn it in, and I can take a look at it and give you feedback. So I'm going to hit done on this. You'll find it. You'll find it in Seesaw. It'll be there waiting for you, I promise. It's not going to go anywhere. And also remember, we are going to be doing, I'm asking you to do 3 sessions of extra math, and also there's going to be an extra problem or 2 that are going to be assessed dealing with these very things about what are measurement benchmarks, and do that in Seesaw. So you got two assignments in Seesaw to do, and to do some extra math as well, 3 sessions of it. I think that's doable, and I think it's good practice for you. Thanks for putting up with my first lesson video.